Hello and welcome to the 28th broadcast of the Nerdflix podcast. Today's topic is Phineas and Ferb. So let's get started.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Excellent!
Killing me, Smalls!
I'm the doctor.
First you gotta do the trouble shuffle. Come on!
With great power comes great responsibility.
Use the Force, Luke.
Welcome to the Nerdflix podcast.
Phineas and Ferb is a show about two stepbrothers who build these crazy inventions. Like, they're insane. And they have this pet platypus who is also a secret agent, and he goes off to fight Dr. Heinz Doofenshmirtz. And he builds Dr. Heinz Doofenshmirtz builds all kinds of innators to do all kinds of wacky things, and him and Perry fight each other, while Phineas and Ferb build some crazy invention, and then by the end of the episode, something the innator did caused the invention to disappear, so in the end, their mom will never see the invention by the end of the episode. And that's basically how every episode worked in Phineas and Ferb. Phineas and Ferb overall had 4 seasons and 2 movies. I can think of 2. There might have been more, but I think 2 movies. And so season 1 starts out with Roller Coaster, their first episode. Of course, they build a roller coaster. Lawn Gnome Beach Party of Terror. And then continuing on to the first season, we get the season 1, episode 11, Swinter, in which they mix winter with summer. Ice Cream You Scream, which appears to be a Halloween special. Mom's Birthday, a Mother's Day episode. It's About Time, where Phineas and Ferb complete an unfinished time machine and travel back in time. There is a decent amount of episodes in each season. Looks like there's 47 episodes in season 1. Now going on to season 2, which started around 2009. Which season 2 starts out with the lake nose monster, which is a lake shaped like a nose and there's a monster in it. Interview with the platypus, when they make a machine that is able to translate what pets are saying. Don't Even Blink. Gaming the System. The Chronicles of Meep, a very good episode. Thaddeus and Thor, where Phineas and Ferb meet people who are exactly like them, or almost like them. They have the same building skills. Swiss Family Phineas. Phineas and Ferb's musical Cliptastic Countdown, where they take all the times they've sung songs in the show and basically count them down to number 1. So there is a decent amount in season 2 as well. The Wizard of Oz, which is of course a Wizard of Oz parody. So 65 episodes in season 2 overall. Season 3 starts out with The Great Indoors, Moon Farm, Bad Hair Day, and there's Road Trip. I'm just reading off a couple of highlights from these seasons. Of course, I'm not going to read every single one off, or else that would take up the entire podcast. The Remains of the Platypus. And I believe at some point... No, it must be till season 4. There is a Star Wars crossover eventually. Yeah, that's season 4. 62 episodes altogether in season 3. Season 4 is the final season and starts out with For Your Ice Only. And Phineas and Ferb create a brand new game of hockey. And it actually looks pretty fun. I recommend that episode. And we go to Fly on the Wall, where they get turned... I don't think it's this episode, but there is an episode where they get turned really small. Oh, that's the episode Candace gets turned into a fly. Happy Birthday, Isabella. Return of the Rogue Rabbit. a Father's Day episode. Here it is. Phineas and Ferb Star Wars Special Part 1 and Phineas and Ferb Star Wars Special Part 2, which is literally a crossover between Phineas and Ferb and Star Wars, and it is a really great episode. Night of the Living Pharmacist. And finally, Last Day of Summer, which will end Phineas and Ferb in 2015. The show altogether, from coming up with the idea to production to signing on with Disney, overall took 16 years before the show went from idea to actual television show. All the characters in Phineas and Ferb are designed so that, or drawn so that they are easier to doodle quickly, and I guess that makes it easier for fans to doodle them as well. One of the creators of the show had a friend who was from the UK and was really good with tools. So this was part of the inspiration for Ferb, because of course in the show Ferb is British and is very good with tools. So the creator's friend was an inspiration for Ferb. Apparently, Ferb is a nickname and his full name is Ferbs. It's not much of a nickname, it's not much of a shortening, but the name Ferbs is a little silly, so I get why his name is Ferb. Before creating this show, the two creators worked on other shows such as The Simpsons, Rocko's Modern Life, Family Guy, and Postman Pat. If you don't know what Postman Pat is, it is basically a British children's show that is a claymation and is about a postman. And it's that kind of claymation like Wallace and Gromit and Shaun the Sheep, but it's about, of course, a mailman. Towards the beginning of the show, Phineas and Ferb, like of the beginning of the entire series, Candace, Phineas and Ferb's sister, refers to another character, Jeremy, refers to him working at a place called Mr. Slushy Burger. But later on into the series, he's actually working at a place called Mr. Slushy Dog. So either he changed jobs to a very similarly named place, or there was some continuity errors going on. The creators of Phineas and Ferb also voiced key characters in the show, just like how, if you remember, back in the Gravity Falls episode, Alex Hirsch, the creator of Gravity Falls, voiced characters such as Seuss, Grunkle Stan, and Bill Cipher. Well, in this show, the two creators voice Heinz Doofenshmirtz and Manger Monogram, so they are featured in the show. Also, the voice of Dr. Doofenshmirtz has a TikTok/YouTube channel, and he's really fun. You should check him out. Season 2 premiered Friday, March 15th, 2009, and was the most viewed television series of that day. So all the people that day were watching Phineas and Ferb. And now it is time for another segment of product review. I don't think I own anything for Phineas and Ferb. I don't own them on DVDs, but I do have Disney Plus, so I can watch the entire show on there. I used to have some sandals that had Perry the Platypus on them, but I've long outgrown them. So I don't think I have any kind of Phineas and Ferb merchandise, but let's see what's available. So we're going to the official Disney shop, shopdisney.com, and doing a general search for Phineas and Ferb. Tons of things show up, of course, always free ship, not free. Of course, always there are tons of t-shirts available. There are also books and a lot of DVDs, but it looks like they're taking all the regular specials for Phineas and Ferb that were just part of a season and putting them on their own little separate DVDs. So that is interesting the way they're selling it. Like I said, lots of t-shirts, water bottles, mugs, a custom water bottle with your name on it, all sorts of stuff like that. Then we're going to go over to the Funko app, because it was interesting when I thought about whether or not Phineas and Ferb have Funko Pops. Because one, the way Ferb's head is shaped like a triangle like that, how would you really do that, you know? And so I looked it up, I looked Phineas and Ferb up with the Funko app, but I only found 4 Phineas and Ferb products, and none of them are actually Funko Pops, they're just Funko manufactured figures. So they're like little collectible figurines that look just like their characters. So they have Phineas, Ferb, Agent P, and Dr. Doofenshmirtz. Now, I'm not getting any price value for Phineas and Ferb, but Perry is worth $18, and Dr. Heinz Doofenshmirtz is worth $21. So nothing too crazy. I'm not sure what the original value on these figures are, though. But they are pretty nice and not worth too much, but of course there is no Funko Pops for that. And that's pretty much what you're going to find on the market for Phineas and Ferb. In the series, Candace has a friend named Stacy, and twice throughout the entire show, Stacy finds out that Perry is a secret agent. Twice. One thing that is shown in the show and is quite obvious is that Phineas is a very polite person. Watch any episode of Phineas and Ferb, and you'll see how polite Phineas is. Well, originally, Ferb was supposed to be nice, and Phineas was supposed to be very rude. But they changed that. But so, being a Phineas and Ferb fan, it's very hard to imagine Phineas being rude. Ferb is known for not talking very often. But if you watch the episodes again, you'll find that Ferb has at least one sentence, throughout in every episode, throughout the entire show. At least one sentence. One thing that is iconic about Ferb is that he is British and has a British accent when he does speak. But originally Ferb was supposed to be American just like everyone else in the show. But later on he was changed to be British, which I find makes him a lot more of an interesting and unique character than just being an American like the rest of them. Plus, it gives them an excuse to travel to Britain and have a whole episode special there. Throughout the entire show, they make tons of pop culture references, some examples just being Charlie Brown, Indiana Jones, and Star Wars. But those are only some examples of all the references they make. The voice behind Perry the Platypus is a man named D. Bradley Baker, who has done a series of voice acting, all sorts of voice acting and sound effects. But one I found particularly interesting is that he is the voice of the clones in Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Random fun piece of information I learned about Phineas and Ferb is that Dr. Doofenshmirtz is 47 years old. I talked about the movies of Phineas and Ferb. There were two movies. There was Phineas and Ferb Across the Second Dimension, and the most recent one coming out in 2020, a Disney Plus original, Candace versus the Universe. And the first Phineas and Ferb movie, Phineas and Ferb Across the Second Dimension, made a total of $7.3 million. So there were two Phineas and Ferb movies overall. And now it is time for another segment of Forgotten Facts. This one is not from an episode that was very far back. In fact, this episode is very recent. This is Nerdflix number 26, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. When filming the scene in which Veruga Salt sings about wanting everything in that one part of the factory with the golden eggs, it was a pain to shoot, because at the part where she throws the boxes and bows in the air during mid-song, apparently took 36 takes to get correct. Okay, that is it for this episode of the Nerdflix podcast. Thanks so much for listening, and in just 2 weeks, so Nerdflix number 30 is coming up in just 2 weeks, and we will be doing a big Doctor Who themed episode to celebrate number 30. So be sure to listen next week and to our big number 30 celebration. Also coming up in October, we will be doing a series on different Halloween-themed topics. So be sure to listen to all that. And until then, I will see you next week on Nerdflix.
Time for Anakin! I have the high ground!
I'm Batman. You're a wizard, Harry. 1.21 gigawatts.
Thank you for listening. Goodbye.
Doofenshmirtz, evil and cold.